And look at all those tiny spots of warm yellow paint that convey sunlight on the water. Oh my goodness, all those little dots of color, it took forever. Early in 1998, my husband, Ken, memorized Jesus's entire Sermon on the Mount. That's 3 chapters in the Gospel of Matthew. Well, later that same year, we were in Israel, and one sunny afternoon, we drove up on a high hill above the ruins of Capernaum. We got out and wandered through a field to a natural amphitheater, kind of tucked in the side of the hill. It was late in the day, the tour buses were gone, the hillside was totally quiet, and Ken turned to face the Sea of Galilee, and he began to recite the Sermon on the Mount, all 3 chapters. It took almost 15 minutes. And as I sat there listening, I could easily imagine throngs of people coming to sit and hear those riveting words somewhere on that same slope above Capernaum. That day was the highlight of our visit to the Holy Land. And when I got home, I just could not wait to paint the scene as it may have looked over 2,000 years ago. And the result is this 24 by 48-inch landscape in oil paints of the hills surrounding the Sea of Galilee and Jesus preaching to the people. I wanted to convey the moment described in Matthew chapter 5. Quote, "Now when he saw the crowds, he went up on a mountainside and he sat down. His disciples came to him and he began to teach them, saying, 'Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.'" Now, I wanted the viewer's eye to land immediately on Jesus, and so I used a compositional cue. These grazing sheep right here, they guide the eye toward the crowd until you too find yourself sitting at the feet of Jesus. You know, I have to tell you, this was an exhausting work, taking over a year to complete. And look at all those tiny spots of warm yellow paint that convey sunlight on the water. Oh my goodness, all those little dots of color, it took forever. You know, decades have passed since that day that Ken and I were on that hill above Capernaum. But the memory of my husband reciting those timeless words of Jesus Christ remains crystal clear. And this painting helps keep that moment fresh. Now, in a painting like this, you always work from the background forward. And so first I did that brilliant blue sky, and then of course I began to lay in the clouds. See those rays of sunlight over there? I had a friend put a yardstick on the dry paint, and then I mixed a warm yellow that would be transparent enough for the blue to show through. And I, with one sweep of the brush in my mouth, went shoo, and I was able to do those beautiful sun rays. There's only one place where I used pure white on this painting, and that is on the robes of Jesus. You might think the sheep are white, not so. They're like a dull gray, but I wanted that splash of white to draw the viewer's eye. And then, of course, the crowd is bathed in light, almost as though it's being reflected off the face of Jesus. Again, I wanted the viewer in this massive landscape to have your eye land immediately on Christ preaching those great words to the crowd.